Jesse Stevens became another new champion for the Precision Racing League last season. But as sim racers, often we're faced with weighing the emotional importance of the sport to the importance of our families and careers. Admirably, Stevens steps away on a high and leaves his crown for others to claim it. Who will fill this vacuum? We'll find out soon as we get ready to watch round one of the PRL GTE Sportscar series, and you'll see it all live here on the Global SimRacing Channel and the iRacing eSports Network. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is Ossian Puhaka. Behind the scenes is our director, Sean Crackers Ambrose, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Interlagos has been the scene of some more controversial moments in many series we've covered here on GSRC. It's a track that both challenges and thrills. To understand why, let's head down to our track guide to see what makes it so unique. Welcome to Autódromo's José Carlos Pache. Most fans and drivers simply know this place as Interlagos. Starting life as an absolute behemoth of a circuit, this Brazilian track was eventually truncated to the version you see today. Having hosted Formula One for roughly 3 decades, it's become very well known on the international stage. But it has also held rounds in the World Endurance Championship, as well as frequently seen Brazilian stock cars, motorcycles, and even truck racing. There's little difference between its two layouts, which includes the GP course and the Moto course, which simply adds a chicane to the end of the lap. In both cases, it's a tale of 2 circuits. The run past the start-finish line and into the Sena S, followed by the blast towards the Descida do Lago, are very high-speed sections that come back-to-back. Drivers will need to focus on top end in order to attack or defend. Expect most passes to happen in those 2 corners. But from Ferradura until Juchão, the track suddenly twists itself into a mess of hairpins and frustratingly technical turns. This can make car setup a real compromise, and for the latter part of the lap, an absolute pain when dealing with traffic. Pit exit is also a narrow affair, so it requires drivers to take care when trying to maximize their outlaps. On the upside, with this being a modern F1 track, there's paved runoff in abundance at many of the fast corners. The passion of the Brazilian fans always comes out in force at races, and it's no wonder with this picturesque track sandwiched right amongst the neighborhoods of Sao Paulo. There you see some of the views around Interlagos, and Aussie and modern fans of Formula One are used to this place ending the season, but it used to start Formula One like we're doing here today, appropriately.
Yes, it used to. Back in the late 70s, early 80s, you had the first round on the longer circuit of this one, back when it was like almost 8 kilometers, like 5 miles long. But these days it's a little bit shorter, it's a little bit more compact, and it is usually the season ender, or was the season ender, in the late 2000s. 2.6 miles, 4.3 kilometers, 15 turns, Sao Paulo, Brazil, and it is a track of 2 phases, of 2 natures. You have the fast, long straights running uphill on towards the first corner, the Sena SS, and that long straight afterwards. And then you have the tight infield technical section. What will people do with wing levels? How can they balance the straight line speed with the cornering performance? And how can they balance aerodynamic grip with the mechanical one? All those and much more to come up here in Brazil, Joe.
Absolutely, and as always, today's race is brought to you by Simsa. Simulation Motorsports Affinity provides many consulting services, from completely customizing simulators to managing teams, individual drivers, and complete events. They're working hard to bring organizations, companies, manufacturers, teams, and drivers together at one place to support and promote sim racing internationally. They're also bridging virtual and real motorsports by providing a network between these two, involving sim racers, real drivers, teams, managers, engineers, and of course, motorsport fans alike. You can find out more about how you can get involved at simsa.net. Today's broadcast is also proudly sponsored by ButtKicker. ButtKicker products add an incredible immersion and realism to any game. Feel every nuance and truly put yourself in the driver's seat. Check them out at thebuttkicker.com. Now let's take a look at the championship last season and how things ended out. It was a bit of a rout, surprisingly so, for Jesse Stevens, finishing by a whole 40 points ahead there over Carl Modoff. And then you've got Stephen Ash, who wound up in third. He was on a string of podium finishes for a while. Let's see if he can kick that back up. Michael Ross wound up in fourth when all was said and done, and not too far ahead of Rodrigo Mies, who probably could have done better but missed a number of races late in the season. They also had a teams championship, Aussie, and how did that wind up?
It was Punto CL Racing Blue in the end, coming out with the team championship, just 14 points ahead of Full Send Racing. Radicals Online being team headed by Jesse Stevens in his championship charge, finished also P number 3 in team points, ahead of GDR Ventus Rennsport SET and Punto CL Racing Red. And those were the teams pretty much in the championship hunts all throughout the season as well. And I believe, Joe, you have some race details for us. Juicy race details.
Absolutely. So let's go down for any viewers who are tuning in for the first time. It's a good time to do so because we're on the season opener here today. There's 4 different makes of cars. They're all GTE class cars that you can run. They're listed there on your screen. They do 60-minute races in this series. And even though it is open setup, they will be limited on fuel. So they have to make at least one pit stop during this race. They have an incident cap. You can see at 13 incidents and then at 20 incidents. They would penalize at 13 and then they'll be completely disqualified if they hit 20. And they have some bonus points up for grabs. We'll see if that is a bigger factor this season, if it's any closer when we get down to the end of our 10 rounds here today. Qualifying is underway currently here at Interlagos. And Felipe Ruiz is currently up at the provisional pole. One driver that, Ruiz, I think, is actually a new one here, but another one that's new that I saw quick in the warm-up is the outside of the front row right now, the number 71 of Skorek out there. So as he runs around in his Ferrari, I will note, Ossian, as I was watching, it seems like the new balance of performance has really changed things up in terms of chosen cars because there's a lot of Ferraris and Fords up here, it seems.
Yeah, we saw the Ford being the dominant brand later on last season, and Jesse Stevens was in the form to prove it as well. And it was quite interesting that Karmodov didn't shy away from his Porsche, despite the Ford being dominant. But just goes to show you that people have some brand loyalty as well. But yeah, a lot of Ferraris, a lot of Fords here. We have a couple of Porsches as well. So it's not all those two brands. And we have BMWs too. So all 4 brands represented out there today. Now, interesting with the summer season, a lot of new drivers here, as you said. Felipe Ruiz, Don Squilek, who is a new driver. I'm just gonna refer to him as Don because my tongue doesn't work that way. Lucas Basigalupo and Rodrigo Mies as well. He's the crowd favorite. He's sitting in the 4th place, but look at how tight it is currently near the top of the field, and we still have half of the qualifying to go.
Yeah, we have only 3/10 between 1st and 7th place right now, so things incredibly tight. Basagalupo, Mies, and Munoz. And here we go. Mies just set a quicker lap and puts himself onto the front row. Skorek finds himself in 3rd now, only 9 1,000ths back. Basagalupo actually was here regularly before, and I think he just stepped away for a while. So Lucas is back, and it seems he's not lost much of his speed. Pfeffer, who kind of spent his time mired in the mid-pack recently, he's back up to 6 here currently with 7 minutes left on the qualifying, so still time to improve.
Indeed, and he is gonna fight his way to the top, I guess, during the course of the race as well. He's known to be a great racer first and foremost. Why fight his way to the top? Well, when this man is not racing, he is practicing MMA. No more, no less.
Boy, so I guess what you're saying is if you race him on the real track, you don't want to approach him afterwards.
No.
So as we continue to watch Ribe down there in 20th, another driver who we haven't seen in a while, who used to race here regularly, in the GTE series, Anderson Schmidt down in 25th, coming to the line. Let's see if this one's any quicker. It is a 31.7. And fortunately, no, that does jump him up, actually. It looks like 17th place, so about 7 positions higher for the number 27 car.
Can I give a shout out to car number 21 though at this point? He's just coming across the line and he's in the pictures too. Liam Jenkins from UK, from United Kingdom, in 30th place. He used to be a commentator just like you and me back in the day, and even in the World Championship Series events. But that's not the reason I want to give him a shout out, even if he's a fellow commentator. I want to give him a shout out because it's currently 2 a.m. in UK and he's racing.
Guess he's a night owl. He's got a little bit of work to do back in 30th after that last lap. So we now watch Cal Quinn, who returns to try and do what he can. That 666 crosses the line, but that doesn't go faster than his previous lap, which was a 31 flat. He'll stay in P9 from now. Gonzalez in 13th, also not able to improve in his Ford. we're talking about the different makes of cars. There's actually only one BMW here today, right now. That is poor Rafael Russo, who is in the number 22 car. He's basically flying the flag for the Bavarian car maker. And then as far as Porsches, there are a fair amount, but the highest one up right now, I believe, is Christian Eisler, which is shocking considering Eisler is a multiple-time winner in this series in that 727 car.
Yeah, so Eisler is surprisingly low down the field, only in 17th as you touched, and he has a chance to get back in form today. Of course, season opener is always a difficult time. A lot of people can come unprepared, especially to summer seasons, because summer people have a lot of other things to do as well besides sim racing. So we might be seeing new faces near the top, and Eisler could be maybe, melting a little bit here in the sun. Meanwhile, Abner Acosta going all the way up to P number 4, and just still the tightness of the field up top is just mesmerizing. We have 8 cars under 131s, and the fastest time is 130.72.
Acosta is back. Going to look for another championship, that number 5 car. Eisler this time across looks like he's still yet to go quicker than that 31.3, unfortunately. Third place driver Asturi, as he comes to the line, it's only his second time lap and he still goes quicker, 30.6, and that's actually good enough for pole by about 8/100ths of a second over Ruiz.
And he's a teammate of Abner Acosta as well, so that team, those 4 GDs, they are really on a form out here today. Let's see if anyone can beat them over the course of these last 3.5 minutes. But I am impressed by what these guys are currently doing. So yeah, that's a great start of the season for these guys, and Acosta especially. I think he has a championship in mind, but his toughest opposition might just come from within his own team, Joe.
Well, he's sitting in 4th. He's half a tenth off of Mies. And he does go quicker, 30.6. That's going to put him up to 2nd place. Less than 100th, or just barely over 100th, rather, off of Asturi. Our top 5 are only 2/10 apart. In fact, top 4 are 0.121 apart from one another. This is incredibly tight.
And it's an absolute thriller as well. People still got time to put these laps on the board. They still got time to challenge 130.6, and the track seems to be getting well, if not faster, then at least not slower at all. So they still have a chance come to the end of the session. Now Lucas Basigalupo is coming over the line. He's currently sitting 6th. Where can he go if he's on a timed lap? 131.1 doesn't improve, but he's going on to yet another round this 2.6 mile circuit show, and I'm really looking forward to it. But just a quick touch on the team championship. Level Motorsport, Abner Acosta, Bruno Asturi, Alexis Akerbo. That's my front runner for the championship. They're currently sitting 1st, 2nd, and 11th in the qualifying session.
Whew, that's pretty impressive. Ruiz looks like he's not going to count that lap. In fact, or no, I was looking at Mies rather. Ruiz this time by had a bit of an off, who we were watching, so that one also didn't count. So both Ruiz and Mies still trying to improve. 1.5 minutes left to go. Looks like the number 3 of Brea is coming to the line in his Porsche. In fact, he gets bumped down a little bit, and looks like he's not going to bump himself back up because he does not go faster that time by. What about Skorek? 71. Oh, he had an off track or something somewhere as well. So one last go at it in the number 71 machine as we switch back to Gonzalez now.
Yeah, here we go. Fabio Gonzalez, can he improve? No, but Horacio Calguin, that's an interesting name, actually, just coming across the line. He had a little bit of a scruffy end to last season, but here he is on his on his last timed lap. So let's see if Calguin can improve. He's sitting only in 13th place, and this is a man, for those who are new to this series, this is a man, Horacio Calguin, who was sitting consistently within top 5, challenging for top 5s, for great points, for majority of last season. So despite Stevens being gone, despite Modov being gone, we still have a great season in hands here in terms of quality. Because I'm looking at the top 10, top 15, and I'm just not seeing any weak links at all.
Ruiz doesn't go faster, and neither does Mies. They're both going to get one more shot at it as we get the checkered flag now. And it looks like Dunnigan and the number 899 is going to be the first to take that checkered flag, or is he going to take it into the pits? He's going to take it into the pits. He doesn't feel happy with that one. So what about James Nunn? He's down there in 31st. He's also slowing, so he is done with his qualifying. Squirrek, is he going to give it a shot?
Slowing.
No. Everybody's coming into the pits. It seems this last lap is not a happy one for many.
No, Liam Jenkins coming at full head of steam to the last corner. He looks to be taking tight line, and he is gonna count this lap. He's 32nd currently, 133 flat to beat. Doesn't beat it at all, so the track is not getting much faster. Fabio Gonzalez doesn't manage to improve either, came close though. Let's see what the rest of these guys can do. J.R. Williams.
He's 22nd. He takes it to the line and finishes this last lap, but he had an off track as it does not count. Bacigalupo, not quicker, as he's going to be followed by Kenny Rodriguez. Sits in 30th. This Porsche is going to take the lap, and he goes quicker, and unfortunately, it looks like it doesn't improve his position.
Felipe Luis also coming across the line. Well, not across the line, but into the main straight, which isn't straight at all. Subida the boxes to go, and 10 across the start-finish line. He's sitting third, 130.7 to beat. Not at all. Not even close to improving. Rodrigo Mies, though, he takes pole position, drafting that car. What a crafty move by Rodrigo Mies. He got the full draft from Felipe Ruiz and snatches the pole position at the closing seconds of the qualifying. Give this man from Chile a round of applause, Joe.
Yeah, and he was the last one to cross the line, so that settles our starting order. Let's go through the grid. Mies, as we mentioned, on the pole by 2/100ths of a second. That draft was ever so critical. Asturi will be starting next to him on the outside of the front row. Abner Acosta gets bumped down to third, with Felipe Ruiz starting next to him in fourth. Don Skorek will be in fifth position. Lucas Bacigalupo returns with the front three rows starts in sixth, with Fabio Gonzalez starting seventh behind him, and Michael Ross in P8. You've got Paulo Munoz in ninth, and the outside of row 5 as Christopher Pfeffer rounding out your top 10.
Mateus Narciso starting 11th, Alexis Acerbo 12th, Horacio Calguin 13th, Ted Lowendick 14th, Javi Utreras 15th with Ignacio Hortal 16th, Lafar Russo in front of his home crowd 17th, Christian Eisler melting a little bit in the Brazilian heat, only 18th, Luis Pime Jr. 19th, and Stacy Dunnigan rounding out your top 20.
Anderson Schmidt will be in 21st, J.R. Williams, P22 for him. Then you've got Juan Brea and 23rd, Pablo Uribe, starts P24 today. Andre Espinoza, a little bit far down the order. He'll start in 25th, and Matt Hilton will be P26. Nick Utahog in 27th will be followed by Miguel Statler. And you've got 29th for Jason Rimkus and Kenny Rodriguez starting 30th. Just the last couple cars here to qualify: James Nunn, Liam Jenkins, and David Stevenson in 31st, 32nd, and 33rd. Carlos Passos will start the race in 34th without a qualifying time. Is Martin Dubé here? No, he is not. So it looks like he will not start the race. And we will have 34 cars take the green.
And it's gonna be an incredibly tight race. You know, Interlagos, it's the most crucial thing these drivers have to think about right now is to stay calm. The qualifying was so tight. I bet a lot of these guys are feeling right now that, okay, I can go faster. I'm faster than the guy in front of me. I just didn't nail my qualifying lap. But they have to be so patient, especially on the first lap, because when you come to the Senna SS, it's such a tight place. It's such a difficult corner to navigate in a full pack of cars. So guys all the way from Rodrigo, Mies, Asturi, then you go into the mid packs towards the drivers like Matt Hilton, Nick Uitehag, and Jason Rimkis, and even all the way to the back like Carlos Passos. They have to be careful, Joe.
All All right, drivers now take off behind the Porsche pace car. We'll get about half a lap here behind to try and warm those tires up. These will be given control, and then Asturi will have to do his best. How well is he going to work with Acosta, though, his teammate? Is it going to be a 2v1 situation? Is Mies going to be ganged up on? We'll find out soon enough as they weave their way through the technical infield portion of this track up to the Ducks Bill. Interesting that Mies has pulled away and everybody behind him kind of giving him a lot of room here.
Yeah, and they don't want to come too close, come to the start of this race. 1 hour to go, mind you. So they're like bunching up, trying to see what Rodrigo Mies will do here on the start and play accordingly. And also, you don't want to really run too wide to the last corner. You don't want to take the chance of damaging your car before you come to the start-finish line. You have plenty of time to get too wide here and assume your position before the start-finish line.
It looks like they're getting relatively close together here, although Asturi still hanging back a little bit, giving some space to Mies as the Porsche pace car comes up to Subidos dos Boxes. Now he's alongside. Nice, tightly packed field of 34 cars. Round one here in the PRL GTE Sports Car Series is about to begin. Porsche pace car heading into pit lane. Mies waits. Green flag is out. Not the greatest of starts for Rodrigo, although he gets a decent jump over Asturi, and he's going to be fully ahead by the time they come up to the Senna S. Behind them, a little bit of contact through some of the field. In fact, 4 wide. Some cars managing to hold it together as they slide into each other, and I think we're going to get out the other side clean.
Yes, we are. Even in the back of the field, everybody getting clean through the first corners. Now we have... we had one slow car, J.R. Williams, losing a lot of positions, 22nd. But aside from that, we are clean through the first lap, first corners of the first lap, and that's always a great sign, Joe.
Out of the Descida del Lago, Mies leads. Asturi's in second, Acosta still in third, Ruiz fourth, and Skurek in fifth. A little bit of a breakaway for Mies, but it's very, very tightly packed between Acosta, Ruiz, Skurek. You can see them almost nose to tail coming into turn 8.
Yeah, and it's always like this on the first lap. You're shuffling for position. You're trying to get the tires into temperatures. They're very cold, mind you, because these guys can be sitting 2-3 minutes waiting for the pace car to get going. Then you're going at very, very slow speeds behind the pace car. You're going at 56 k's an hour, or 50 miles an hour rather, behind the pace car, and then suddenly you have to go racing. They are still trying to get a feel into their car, how it feels on full fuel. So it's gonna be a little bit of touch and go on the first couple of laps, but then they get racing and then they will get feisty. I'm interested to see what Asturi and Acosta can do here behind Rodrigo Mies. They are teammates after all, but how good is their teamwork?
A little bit of a look to the inside. That was Skurek having to go defensive on Bacigalupo, though he gets into the back of Ruiz, breaking into the Senna S, and it's going to erupt all over again as they come down the Retta Aposta into the Descida del Lago. Acosta leading the train, but look at all those Ferraris and Fords trying to figure out who is going to be on the podium. Down to the inside, Ruiz takes a peek, but nothing doing.
Oh, very wide for Acosta. He was not quite hitting the apex cleanly, had to run a little bit wide, and that compromised his exit. He's gonna have to defend on the inside, then makes a late move to the middle. Ruiz, is he gonna have a better exit? He may have a chance if he does. Look at Acosta, he's all over the place. He's certainly feeling the pressure early on, and this is the last thing he wants right now. A hot-headed Felipe Ruiz challenging him for position early on, because if you lose this position, you're showing weakness to the entire pack behind you. It is kind of like nature in the wild. You're showing weakness. That's why you can't lose a position, because you're gonna lose so many more. You got Don Squirt, you got Bacigalupo, you got Narciso, you got Munoz, you got Pfeffer right behind, just waiting for somebody to make that crucial one mistake.
All this battling has caused them to lose touch with the top two. Asturi's not within striking distance, but keeping Mies honest. There you see them on screen. Let's jump back to Acosta once again, because he's going to be under attack as Ruiz is going to be forced around the outside of the first apex. This usually doesn't work in real life too much, and for Ruiz, it doesn't work in the virtual world either. He falls back into fourth.
Yeah, he does, and that was a really easy move for Acosta. So let's see what he can do here. Can Ruiz come back, or will it be Acosta? Holding on to the position? Ruiz still right behind now. There is a little bit of damage maybe on the left side of Ruiz's car. It might be just me, but on the left rear corner of Ruiz's car. Squirrel also, Bacigalupo is attacking Squirrel here on the outside, heading into the infield section. So Bacigalupo trying to get that position of Squirrel. So far, so good for the Radicals driver, though, holding on to fifth. Still, Lucas is not showing any weaknesses at all. Not showing any weakness so far, just attacking. And they're really gonna let the leading duo get away with this one. Mies and Asturi, they're just watching their mirrors show and they are smiling, and no wonder.
Just an update, don't need to go to it, but Hortal made contact with Russo. The number 22 car went around, had to wait for the entire pack to go by in the Senna S, as this group just cannot get away from one another as we come up the hill one more time, and Bacigalupo finds the 31 hot on his heels. That Ford GT is going to get a nice little slipstream, but is he going to get the inside? The orange car belonging to Narciso, and he takes a late look behind them. That was Munoz as well, giving it a shot. He's going to be able to get to the inside. Can he complete the pass, though?
No, he can't. No chance from there, unless he gets a mighty exit here, but he won't. That was a very late move from Narciso, and he was really lucky that Lucas was watching his mirrors and actually saw him coming into turn number one. Because usually if you make such a late move like that, the last thing you want to do, okay, you can make a passive move and just move alongside somebody when you get a clear chance. You can make an aggressive move, like lick the stamp and send it. The last thing you want to do is what Narciso did here, which is doing an aggressive move passively. And he was so passive in his execution, he was just gliding alongside, and I was thinking, okay, he's gonna leave so many questions to Bacigalupo. Is that an overtaking attempt, or is it just a look? Well, it was an attempt, but in all honesty, Joe, it was a bit of a half-hearted attempt in my mind. It was more like a jab. He wasn't really trying to hurt him. He was just jabbing him, watching the distance and seeing the reaction.
Well, nobody likes being passive-aggressive with you, so we'll see if Bacigalupo can deal with that sort of annoyance, because he's going to have it again, it seems. Once again, that blue oval is filling up his mirrors as they climb the hill, coming up to the front stretch, getting up to speed 145 miles an hour. Bacigalupo, he's holding the inside this time. I think he learned his lesson. Mateus is going to go to the outside, and it's not really going to produce much for him, so he'll just stay in line.
Yeah, it's gonna be very difficult for Mateus to overtake here, because Bacigalupo is still getting some draft from the pack up ahead of him, from Acosta, from Ruiz, from Squirrel as well. And Bacigalupo is enjoying the draft all the way to the main straight. So even though Narciso is closer, Mateus Narciso, it's not like he's getting the full effect of the slipstream, because the guy in front is slipstreaming as well, and that's what makes overtaking here so difficult, because yes, you have the long uphill straight, an ideal passing opportunity, but usually you see a bunch of cars, and seldom do you find yourself in a position where you are enjoying the draft and the car in front of you is not getting drafted.
Yeah, Michael Ross on screen here, who's getting a position away from Acerbo, and the number 46. He pulled a nice little over-under with a good exit out of Interlagos. And this is looking very similar to what we saw before. It's sort of a train of cars forming behind them. That's Gonzalez, Calquin, Lowendick, and Utretas, all packed up back to 15th.
Yeah, Acerbo was being surprisingly slow in the 10th place. Michael Ross, we saw him last season being the lone Ford Crusader in some early races, and look how that turned out. He has some expert knowledge in this car, so he is able to lead that pack, and let's see if he can get away. Meanwhile, side by side, Bacigalupo is trying to overtake here. He's around the outside of Narciso. Let's see if he can make it through. Around the outside, he tries. But so far, actually Narciso, yeah, he's the one overtaking, and Bacigalupo is the one defending. Bacigalupo not able to get it through. And on the inside as well, the 3-2-1 of Paulo Munoz is trying to take both of those positions. He's following the inside line. That means the guy ahead has to defend, and trying again to the outside is Bacigalupo. Nothing going there, though. Toe goes wide, and Munoz has to hold back. So great battling here, and that is really more of a battle call for these guys. Like, okay, we went side by side all the way to the first sector. We can't really catch up to the guys ahead, or we're not really worried about the guys ahead. This is now our battle. We are now fighting against each other. Narciso, Basigalubo, Munoz, Pfeffer, and Michael Amros as well, trying to make his way into that pack, and what a great break that was for him.
Riding on board with Munoz, but just behind him is the number 66 of Christopher Pfeffer. Started in 10th, he's up to 9th. If he can get a few of these spots, that'll be a nice little gain for him in the first few minutes of this race as they come out of the junction and up the hill one more time. Very good exit for the number 31. Look at him streak away from them.
Yeah, that was a great exit. But that is such a corner, Duncao. It is the type of corner where if you are really brave on the exit, if you manage to nail your line just so, because you have to take the line all the way around the outside, you are turning in from almost outside of the track on top of it's not AstroTurf, but it's like this really gritty surface, stones or something that you're turning in from, and then you have to just hit the apex just right and then nail the throttle heading uphill. And it's so difficult to get right, even if you get so many tries at it during the course of the race. And if I'm driving a 60 lap or a 70 lap Formula 1 Grand Prix here, I'm guaranteeing you that most of even good drivers are not able to nail it like that more than 10 times. That's how difficult it is. And really, you don't want to take the risk either, because the gain is a tenth of a second or 2/10 of a second, but if you lose it there, you can spin the car around and you'll be looking like a fool.
As we jump a little farther back, 14th with Lowendick is ahead of Utrecht and Hortal. These four are essentially fighting for 13th position here. That's Cal Quinn in front of them. They come through the infield portion into the junction that you were just talking about. Let's see who can get the run. All of them trying to get on the power as soon as possible, and it seems Cal Quinn's going to keep himself safe, but I can't say the same for Ted. The 172 as Javi in the number 10 starting to gain.
Yeah, so, and he's pulling along Ignacio Hortal, and, well, Donegan is too far behind them, but Hortal is still trying to hang on to that pack, and in fact, he was faster last time by than Cal Guin by almost half a second. Meanwhile, Cal Guin is losing ground to Acerbo and Gonzalez in front of him. So Cal Guin is in that dreaded position where he is leading the pack, but he is not really faster than the guys behind. He is losing ground to the guys in front of him, and he is right now, well, he's not a sitting duck. He can defend his position, but he is not in a position I would like to swap with him right now. Not at all.
Can he deal with that as they come down to the horseshoe? It looks like Lowendick's going to be safe at least into this double apexer. And there's not many passing opportunities on this part of the track, although he's strong on the brakes coming up to the rear bumper of Cal Quinn in that 666. As all this is happening, just an update that Mies is still leading. It's about by a second and a half over Asturi. Not much going on up at the front of the field. Really, most of the action has been around here.
Yeah, and still a quick shout out, because I like shout outs. I do like doing shout outs on the broadcast. A quick shout out to all the Rodrigo Mies fans in the chat who are out there in the full force. Of course, cheering this Chilean driver on. He's doing great out here today, and he may be en route to his maiden win, but it's still early going, so don't want to jinx anything. And he has still Bruno Asturi, Abner Costa, Felipe Ruiz, Don Skurk, and all those other tough drivers to deal with out here today. Meanwhile, also another update I want to give you. Paulo Munoz has passed Lucas Basigalupo for that 7th place last lap, as a matter of fact. And look at that now. Munoz is actually pulling away from Lucas and Pfeffer also. So since Narciso was able to take the lead of this pack, the pace has increased significantly to the point where Narciso is putting in 131.3s against 131.5 of Skurk and 131.4 of Ruiz. So he is actually matching and even exceeding the pace of race leader Rodrigo Mies.
Yeah, it's starting to spread apart here in the upper mid pack. That was a bit of a lockup though from Mateus there in the 31. He dealt with it well. Oh, and just as I was going to mention that Ruiz was keeping pressure on Acosta, it looks like Ruiz must have made some sort of error because it's gone from 3/10 up to a second between the 5 and the 11. I'm not exactly sure what happened. I'm going to check real quick to see if it was something glaring or what.
Yeah, Ruiz. So he's the kind of driver that seems to be aggressive in his challenges. And well, Joe, I'm not seeing any major errors. He was just pretty much going into the corners a little bit too hot. So maybe that's just his strategy, and Acosta is able to deal with it so far.
Yeah, the worst I could see was he's a little wide at turn 8. I
Yeah.
wouldn't think it was 7/10 worth. As
The thing is,
continue to watch them. Go ahead.
yeah, I want to touch that point because you said it's not 7/10 worth, and it's not. But the thing is, the infield sector here at Interlagos, it's so flowing, and the way the corners like flow into each other and head into each other, it means that you're not going to lose 7/10 in one corner, but you're losing 7/10 in that sector because every single mistake you make, it kind of snowballs into one another.
Good point. As we hop on board now with Ross, he's right underneath the rear wing of Pfeffer, trying to get that 10th place back from him that he took early on in this race, or 9th from him rather. And he's not going to get the chance quite here, but still making sure that that number 66 is sweating.
Yeah, he's sweating for sure, and even though it's not very warm day by Brazilian standards, only 29 degrees Celsius air temp, which is around 85 Fahrenheit, I believe. It's still a sweaty day, it's still a windy day, and it's never really a cold race here at Interlagos. And track temps is one thing this track is well known about. It's not easy on the tires, and that's gonna be something we're gonna be touching on later on in the race because they're gonna have to run the same set all throughout the race. As meanwhile, Ross, I think, is getting closer again.
And to have a shot, and he's not looking yet. He starts to show his nose, tries for the inside. Pfeffer late on the brakes, though, doesn't even manage to get an overlap in there. So Pfeffer, very strong on the binders to fend him off. They're not too far behind Bacigalupo as well, who I think is starting to slip back into their clutches.
Yeah, he's not going on a great pace at all here. I don't know if he's nursing his tires at this point. And look in front of him,
Contact,
Kiso
sorry.
and Munoz. Oh, that's Ross spinning out, and into the wall goes the guy ahead of him as well.
That was Pfeffer, yeah, both of them.
Wow.
With nose-to-tail contact going around. Pfeffer gets the worst of it as Ross is able to get moving quicker.
Yeah, and that's not the right kind of butt kicker.
So good shout out to our sponsor there as Pfeffer falls to 23rd and Ross winds up in 15th. So he lost about 5 places out of that. I don't think Christopher's going to be very happy about the results of that one, though. There you see Ross, the New Englander, working his way through the infield as well.
And now what Michael M. Ross has to remember is that Pfeffer has his other hobby as well, which we touched on earlier. But I'm hoping for no unsanctioned MMA matches on the infield of turn number 4 here this time around. But yeah, that was an unfortunate contact. But what that means is essentially extra positions for a Turbo, who is now climbing into the top 10. He's actually 9th, as well as Gonzalez, as well as Lowendick and those guys. And also an extra gap between Tem and Bacigalupo. So Lucas Bacigalupo must have been watching that in his mirrors like, phew, that was a break.
Just ahead of Ross here, that's Hortal, Uchardas, and Cal Quinn. They're essentially fighting for 12th. Keep an eye on this. I also want to watch Asturi and Acosta, because Acosta is running in Asturi, and actually Mies had some sort of issue. He was 1.2 seconds ahead. Oh, Mies had a big issue. Yeah, let's get a replay this into turn 4 into the Descida del Lago.
Yeah, let's see what happened to Mies here. This is the point when the tires are starting to wear out, and here we have a replay as well coming up, and
yeah, just about
look at him. He's just coming on a very wide line.
Yeah, back up a bit.
Yeah, here we go. He's coming on a wide line. He touches the grass on the entry of the corner, and
Oh.
that was a great save by Rodrigo Mies. That just touching the grass, going wide. Thankfully, there was the long runoff zone, but that means all the gap he had built up before Bruno Asturi behind him, well, it's all evaporated, and it's even worse because Asturi is pulling his teammate Abner Acosta along as well. So suddenly we have a three-way fight for the lead.
Yeah, and unfortunately for Mies, two of these three drivers are teammates, Asturi and Acosta. So they could definitely gang up on him here, try and work together and overwhelm that 88. They're not close enough yet, but they're within the slipstream now, which is more than they could say before. This time a much cleaner run through the Descida del Lago for Mies. So at least he's gotten that under control.
Yeah, and it was something. It wasn't something down to tires or ending by Mies. It was just him trying to maximize his entry to the corner. But that's gonna have an effect on his confidence because he's gonna be a bit careful about those corner entries. From here on out because he was beaten once and he doesn't want to spin out again. But then again, he's under even more pressure now.
Well, a lot of pressure. They are right up underneath him. Asturi, let's see if he can get the run off of the junction. He's been holding him honest, like I said, so we know he's got the pace. All he needs is a good launch, and he's got it. He's going to get reeled in. Let's see if this is enough. He's 0.2 of a second behind through Water Tower. Now Subidos dos Boxes past the pit entry. A little bit of a defensive move from Mies. Now he comes back to the racing line. He feels confident enough, and Asturi seems to think the same as he moves back to the racing line.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how good of a racecraft Asturi has because I know Rodrigo Mies has an excellent racecraft from last season. We saw him at Sebring, we saw him at some other races. He races in real life as well, the fastest Nissan Tida in Chile and whatnot. But yeah, Rodrigo Mies has a good racecraft. Now, how can Bruno Asturi challenge him? And what can he do with his teammate Abner Acosta? Is it going to be Bruno Asturi attacking him and Acosta maybe saving a little bit of fuel behind them? Could that be the strategy? That would be very well because, these guys can split it. One of them can pit earlier, the other guy can make sure that the leader has the battle and then they can just undercut him. Or they can, save fuel, Acosta can, and then he can pit one lap later because he has the extra fuel for it. All of those things have to be taken into consideration in this race. We are only 20 minutes in, but this is the last time to really think about fuel. If you're gonna have to be, if you want to fuel save, if you want to go on for an extra lap, then this is the last possible moment to actually start saving. You cannot decide that when you're about to pit. That's when it's too late. You have to start working on the fundamentals already 15-20 minutes before.
I think he's pushing as hard as possible right now as we ride on board with Acosta, still chasing Asturi as they're going to stay in line. Now behind them, Ruiz is only about 1.3 seconds back. If he's closing, it's in very small increments, but I think he's getting little bit by little bit up to the back of them. I think we've had our first scheduled stop. Ignacio Hortal comes down pit lane and looks for his pit stall. Looks like he's going to hit that cleanly.
And very close between Gonzalez and Lowendick as well for the 10th place. Lowendick actually going to try into the fourth corner, but not going to be able to pull it through. So a lot of battles in the mid-pack as well. And Akerbo not really able to pull away from them. Alexis Akerbo, he has great pace, but so far hasn't been able to really make ground. Lowendick going to look to the outside, but nothing doing there. And in fact, gets just a little bit loose, and as a result of that also loses his exit of the corner. So great battles in the mid-pack as well. A little bit of an update from there.
Yeah, Ted is trying his darndest to get up into the top 10 here. Gonzalez blocking off his attempts just behind him. If they start battling too much, Utreras is still in the fray.
Yeah, Asturi has a chance this time by against Mies. He got a better exit after the last corner, and this could be a lead change throw.
He's going to take a little bit of a peek. Oh, he's gonna have to send it in extremely deep, though. Yeah, no, he thinks better of that one.
Oh, oh, Mies actually has less wing, I think, and significantly so. I've been wondering this earlier on, but the way I saw it, Asturi was so much faster getting out of the junction, getting out of Juncal, onto the main straight, and then he just wasn't gaining at all in the draft. And we know how much torque that Ferrari has in the sixth gear, pulling up the hill. So it could be that Mies has actually put even more emphasis on the race setup and on the low downforce setup, and that's the thing I was talking about earlier on. You have setup choices in Interlagos show. You can either set up your car for the corners, or you can set it up for the straights, or you can go kinda in between. You have to anyway balance them out. But you can see here in the corners, in the tight infield section, Asturi is getting closer and closer, and once we head to the main straight, nothing doing. And there is no point really getting close here, because unless Mies makes a mistake, he cannot get past. He has to do it on a straight line, and that's where he cannot catch Rodrigo Mies. So what he has to do is to get clever and be prepared for a long, long battle.
Yeah, you can see coming off the corner that Mies just pulls away and keeps him quite safe. For those watching our tower closely, you might have seen the 31 of Mateus Narciso overtake Skorek, and that is for 5th place. Looks like Skorek is going to continue to hold on to the back of him, but he's certainly not within attacking distance as they hit the Senna S one more time.
Yeah, Narciso got the position last time by, so Narciso having a great pace so far, and he is right now, let's see the gaps actually. He is 2.2 seconds off Felipe Ruiz and less than 5 seconds off the lead. In fact, the entire top 6 are still within 5 seconds of the lead, so we cannot count these guys out of anything just yet. Still, they are having their own battle, and Skrillex now has to make decisions. He has to gauge what can Narciso do here. Can Narciso run the pace where he can sit comfortably behind him, or will he be a problem later on in this race? And so far it looks very good for Mateus Narciso as he starts to really put the lap times in, especially so. And these decisions are, Joe, especially important because of the lead battle that's going on. If there's a lead battle going on, you don't want to battle in places 4 and 5. You want to get into that battle, get into the mix, and start looking for the opportunities for the race win.
Got to get that bigger picture. Speaking of a big picture, we might need a wide shot for P9, because Turbo Acerbo is currently being chased by a lot of cars. Gonzalez, Lowendick, Utredes, Cal Quinn, and Ross all behind him here. And is anybody going to get the shot off of the junction? There's a few very close drivers. A little bit of wheels in the dirt there from Utredes in the number 10, but he deals with it well. And up the hill, Ross looks the most likely of this group as he's close behind on Cal Quinn. Up at the front, though, that was a decent run from Gonzalez. Looks like Alexis is not going to let him have that, though.
Yeah, it's Turbo Acerbo versus Speedy Gonzalez versus Slick Ted Lowendick and all of those other guys. You know, we can make nicknames all day long, but I like Speedy Gonzalez versus Turbo Acerbo, 49th place.
Indeed. So as they come down into the Descent of the Lago, the 46 still not under attack yet from Gonzalez. In fact, they're all going to stay in the same position since we first joined this. Ooh, a little bit of a look there from Cal Quinn. Oh, Cal Quinn goes deep behind them. Utredes, is offline, and things are starting to kick off as Javi is struggling to control his Ford. He's to the outside as they go through 8, and Cal Quinn can't quite get the job done as it weaves back and forth. Great defense from the number 10.
Very great defense. He was all over the place, and here comes Michael Ross as well, getting the position of Cal Quinn, not quite able to pull through, but he is very close heading into Juncal as well. And this is the time when some of those guys may be thinking about pitting as well. They're not quite there yet in terms of reasonable time on normal conditions, but this is going to be a long battle. And if you're Michael and Ross, if you're Anderson Schmid, who is trying to catch up to the pack as well, you might consider pitting and betting on the fact that this is going to be a long battle, but nobody's taking that option just yet.
Yeah, about Schmidt, he's actually come up a lot of positions from 21st to 15th.
Yeah, he is, and he is really climbing up the order. Speaking of guys climbing up the order, we have the great racers of the field, Matheus Narciso from 11th to 5th, and we have, as you mentioned, Anderson Schmid as well from 21st to 15th, and Anders Espinosa from 25th to 19th. So all of those guys have been able to make up positions here at Interlagos at quite a rate indeed.
We're just about to the halfway point, so let's go back to our leaders once again. They're still very, very close, but I think you're spot on about the wing setting from Mies because Asturi has seemed almost frustrated up here. He's just stuck right behind at this distance and can't get close enough for any sort of pass attempt. And considering he's teammates with Acosta, I suspect that Acosta's in the same boat.
Yeah, it could very well be. So these guys are now gonna have to think and think hard. They should know the situation already. They should know it by following him about 2 laps. And then you should know it. You can confirm it. Okay, it's not just a good exit. He took a bad exit. He's still running away from me. And Asturi and Acosta should be communicating with their team right now and asking each other, okay, what do we do from here? Where do we go from here? You're putting the laps in, you're driving at incredible speeds, and you have to have the mental capacity to still think about these things, to think about the strategy, about the long term, as you said, the big picture earlier on. So what do they do here? Do they just save fuel on the infield sector? Because Asturi, he's getting so close. He's not losing ground to Mies at all. He can lift and coast a little bit into these tight corners. You can save fuel at Interlagos. It's not rocket science. And he can easily just lift and coast in here. And same thing applies to Acosta, who is staying a little bit further back. Or is Asturi's role here to apply pressure to Mies to ensure that he cannot run his line, that he cannot crack, and he cannot make a single mistake or he is in a battle, while Acosta is the one saving fuel. We just don't know yet, but these are all very intriguing possibilities. So there is while what we see on the surface show is just cars racing against each other, but what goes on underneath the surface is sometimes a really, it's not even a chess game. It's more like 4D backgammon.
And Mies, credit to him dealing with the pressure quite well because Asturi has been this, wow, like 0.5 of a second as he slides it through the Senna S to 0.2 of a second behind him for multiple laps now. You talked about applying pressure, try to get a mistake out of him. I'm kind of surprised that we haven't seen Asturi poke his nose out and try to get into the head of the number 88.
Yeah, he tried it a few times, but he knows that he can't really, do that right now. He can't do it convincingly because all he's doing is ruining his own entries at that point. Because the optimal place to do it in is turn number 1 after a long straight to try and feint an overtaking attempt. But he knows that, okay, right, he's not even close enough. There's no way Mies is going to fall for that.
Wait, we had a spin with Lowendick.
Yeah.
The number
Oh, no.
172 has gone around. I was keeping half an eye on that battle in the mid-pack. And speaking of cracking, he's the first one to go of this group.
Yeah,
I think he
and
did
look
this
at
to
him.
himself.
Yeah, look at him coming into the corner. He was just braking a little bit too late. He was catching too close to the back of Fabio Gonzalez there. And instead of hitting him, he was a good sport and went a little bit harder to the brakes. Unfortunately, the way these cars are heading into the corners, the way you have to set up the car to make them turn into the corner, he just lost the back end of the car and as a result has to take a spin. But no damage. Unfortunately for Tetko, that means a lot of track position lost. He is now sitting in the 17th place.
Yeah, that takes one of the cars away from that big pack that has continued on almost since the start of the race. Still being led by Turbo Acerbo, though.
Felipe Ruiz is around in Senna SS. All by himself. Car from 4th place. Felipe Ruiz is sitting in the grass and don't go there, that's a wall. Felipe Ruiz, and can we please get a replay of that? Because that was quite interesting indeed. And oh yeah, look at his tires just went. Yeah, his tires were just gone heading into the corner. He's turning in normally, and look at this here, folks. He's just gonna spin in a very, very slow speed. Yeah, it just snapped on him. he had no grip on the entry. He lost the back end, and as a result of that, he's now sitting in 11th place in the back, in the middle of that huge battle train. Actually,
We lost
so,
one and we gained another, so
yes,
it's back to where it was with a new friend as Ruiz, who seems to be a little bit faster than them. Let's see if he can use that to try and get to the front of the train, though. He's really smack dab in the middle of it currently. You can see there, surrounded by multiple cars. We've had some more pitters. Ross has pit. Hortal is in and out. Lowendick has since taken his stop. And Russo has also completed his pit.
yeah. So a couple of those guys taken to the pit lane already, but I wonder. I mean, you've seen some of the Avengers movies, right? Felipe Ruiz, he just had a snap, and you know how long it took Thanos to recover from the snap. And what I'm on about here, okay, I have a point here. Bear with me, bear with me. His tires, they might be gone, Bono.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it, especially after a spin, heating them up like that. But meanwhile, up at the front of this group, look at this. Having to go defensive. Alexis is trying to fend off Gonzalez, but it looks like Fabio is not willing to try and duck farther to the inside. Maybe looking for the over-under, though, and he's got a good run.
He's got an excellent run heading on to the next straight, and look at this. Kerbo has to actually go to the defensive, and Javi is gonna take advantage of that, but doesn't quite commit to it. However, coming into the corner, oh, that's so tight.
That is Utredes, and he takes advantage of it. He gets a spot. So does Ruiz, and Gonzalez is going to lose all three of them. There goes Calquin up in front of them. Acerbo is under attack yet again. Defensive down into the horseshoe. Looks like Ruiz might have something on Utredes as he's stuck on the outside. A big bobble down into turn 8. Wheel spin on top of it, and Ruiz, well done to get into 9th.
Yeah, that was well calculated. He ran into a roadblock exiting turn number 4, and then he was just able to, you know, take the positions and run away with it. Ruiz now in 2nd place in this pack, right behind the Kerbo, and this is something he can work with right now. If he gets past the Kerbo really quickly, he can maybe try and break away from the group. But Javier Treras, he was just locking up the brakes a little bit coming into the corner, and you saw the marbles on the outside of the corner. That's what really did him in. But look at Ruiz here. Look at his straight line speed. Just flying past the Kerbo on the straight line. He's gonna be clear before turn number 1.
Takes it easily.
And that's what having GSRC stickers on your car will do for you.
I wish. How come I'm not faster then?
Ruiz don't do miracles.
Ruiz gets into 8th position and sets his sights to try and get back into the top 5 where he was before. We haven't missed anything up with the leaders, but they're coming up on traffic. Mies catches up to the back of Stevenson. Could this be the factor that Asturi has been waiting for?
It could very well be, but here you can see Stevenson being very gentlemanly, in fact a little bit too gentlemanly, running into the grass, letting all the leaders through. But yeah, lapped cars, it is not a long lap here. It is just over 1 minute 30 and it's a 1 hour race. So it could be one of the factors these guys are waiting for, but realistically, it's not such a big pack, and I'm wondering, because I'm looking at the gaps right now, they may be running into the tail end of that long field, P number 26, 25, 24, and so on, by the end of this race. But realistically, maybe not, because those guys are also some of the people who have already pitted. So we don't have such a pace disparity here. It's a very tight field, and as a result of that, I don't think Asturi and I don't think Acosta can count on the fact that Mies is gonna run into lapped cars just yet. However, we are coming soon to the pit stop phase of this race.
Yeah, and that's going to change things significantly because we've had a few front runners in. So we take a look at 8th position. Ruiz still, locking up the brakes there for Utredes. That's the orange Ford that you see giving a little puff of smoke, and that cost him some time. To Acerbo in front of him. I was going to say Fabio Gonzalez in the number 111 is our highest pitter right now. He sits in 18th. Remember, he was, I want to say, actually among this pack. And almost contact there between Alexis and Felipe.
There was actually just a tiny bit of contact, but thankfully not enough to send either of them around. That was a really close call. A curveball just showing how good that Ford GT is on the braking, and that's exactly what happened to Ted Londick earlier on. He was just, overestimating the Ferrari on the brakes, and just realizing that, oh, he's gonna have to really brake so early, and that's a difficult adjustment to make when you have to kind of panic brake, because even if these guys are really great racing drivers, even if they have taken that corner thousands of times and being in such a situation, when it comes suddenly, your instinct is to hit the brake harder to avoid hitting the other guy, and that's when the rear end can just snap out on you, especially so late in the race when the tire wear is really starting to become the dominant factor in terms of pace.
Saw a big bobble coming out of turn 9 from a Serbo, and it certainly seems like that's put him under threat from Utretis yet again. And he's actually going to come in. So
Yep.
Alexis decides to pit instead of dealing with an attack from Javi. That moves him up to 9th.
I'm just gonna rewatch the pit lane entry because, yeah, it's 72 k's an hour, and Alexis, we might be seeing a long pit stop for him because he was doing 90 k's an hour on the pit entry. And I'm wondering, was it enough to give him a penalty? Because we'll be seeing it here right now. If it's an extra
I
long
think so.
pit stop, yeah,
Yeah, it's long.
he's gonna have to serve a penalty.
And
Meanwhile,
if he didn't, I was going to say he would have come out with Gonzalez, who has just gone by now. Go ahead.
yeah, Gonzalez, I was about to talk about him, because Gonzalez, Miguel Stadler, Michael M. Ross, they are all in a great teeter-totter battle here for positions that are now... Oh, Ross actually goes through. Yeah, here we go. So, great battle here on the lower end of the mid-pack as well.
Yeah, and that's because Ross has already taken his stop, but Statler has not. And unfortunately, Statler's going to be wishing he had Waldorf because he is way off pace and getting heckled by everybody. Hortal sneaks by with ease. 809 now moves up into 18th. We're still waiting on our leaders to pit. They go by yet another time. Oh, we've got Bacigalupo in, though.
Yeah, we do have him, and I wonder, he's in from the 7th place. I wonder where he's gonna fall in comparison to Michael M. Ross and those other guys. Remember, he has had a decent pace so far in this race, so having him pitting right now, well, he's not doing the pit stop for nothing. He's doing the pit stop for a reason. And I think that reason is just not wanting to wait for another lap and take a risk. So in that sense, I'm expecting the leaders to maybe get in next time by.
And
Maybe
he is
this
out
time by.
well ahead. He's out well ahead of Gonzalez. Bacigalupo is already getting up to speed out of the pit exit. In fact, he's just going to come out in front of Brea, who's yet to stop. So no lap traffic for Bacigalupo. That bodes well for him.
Second most difficult pit exit in the world, by the way, that one. It's not as easy as it looks. And look how close the leaders are. Rodrigo Mies and Bruno Asturi. And I wonder when they're heading to the pits, will Asturi realize how early Mies has to break into the pit lane? Here we are. I think Mies is coming in this time by. Yes, he is. And Asturi, oh, he's going on for another lap. So this was the call. And Mies, he was able to break in time. Good pit entry for him. But Acosta, he is going for another lap. So is Asturi. So the level racing guys are able to beat him on fuel. Now, the overcut, it isn't tremendously powerful, but it is still a bit of time gained for them this time by, and bit of time gained crucially for them in the pit stop itself. But they are gonna have to fly this lap, and they do have some traffic as well, in form of their teammate, a Kerbo, and in form of Kenny Rodriguez as well.
And there we see Mies is already out. It is a good stop at about just shy of 12 seconds for the number 88. Is Mies going to come out in traffic, though? He's got Utretis in front of him, and Utretis is yet to stop, so he is not inclined to pull over. There's no blue flags involved here.
No, but I think Mies is going to get by him fairly easily. Utreras, Javi has to know the situation that Mies has already pitted. He knows where Mies was in this race, so it might be that he's getting an easy pass, or maybe not. But even the worst case scenario is that Javi is pitting this time by, and Rodrigo's gonna maybe lose a second. But that's a crucial second, because the race leaders who are Bruno Astori and Abner Costa, they're maybe gonna come in this time by, and they're getting even a draft from Kenny Rodriguez here on the main straight to help their cause. Will they come in this time by? They're gonna have to, aren't they? Yeah, they're coming in this time by. Acosta continuing for yet another lap. So,
Wow.
remember earlier on when I said fuel saving for one of these guys? Acosta was fuel saving the entire time.
Good call on that. I think you really snagged that one from early on, and Javi Utredes should now leave Rodrigo Mies alone as we anticipate he'll be coming into pit. Watching the comparison between
Yes.
Astori and Mies there on screen between their pit stops. Astorti's out actually a little bit quicker, almost a second quicker, and Mies, who is coming around the Senna S, is looking like he's going to be behind. Astorti might have the track position, but it's going to be close. Does he have the momentum to hold him behind him? And it looks like it's a yes.
Yeah, it's a clear lead as well for Bruno Asturi. So he was able to beat Mies on that outlap and take the lead essentially away from him. But where will Abner Acosta land after his extra lap? What kind of a lap is he able to put in? He was able to pass Kenny Rodriguez, and he only has his teammate Akerbo to worry about. And Akerbo is not being slow. He's just so down in the order because of the penalty he picked up on the pit stop. So Acosta might still become a factor here.
May not be as exciting for the fans, but it is still a legitimate means of getting up into the lead for Bruno Astori. And all we're waiting on is Acosta, who is now in.
Oh, he was so tentative on the pit entry.
It didn't speed at least. Yeah, let's see if that costs him. Astori, his teammate, is coming out of the junction, past Water Tower now. There you see him on screen as we watch the times between the two of them and the pit stop.
Yeah, and the last thing Rodrigo Mies wants right now is yet another level racing car in front of him, because that would be the dream scenario for those guys.
Look at the stop for Acosta. 9 seconds, 9.5 seconds. Oh, but he goes a little greedy on the pit exit.
But Mies made a mistake. Mies has lost it in turn number 1, and he lost about a second there, blocking himself, breaking himself wide. And meanwhile, in the lead goes Bruno Asturi.
And this is Mateus with him. This is a battle for third. Mateus in the number 31 is attacking on Mies, and he might actually have it. He manages to sneak inside through the Descida del Lago, and he is now ahead of that number 88. Maybe not for long, as he's going to look around the outside, tries to come back at him, but that just doesn't do it for him.
No, it doesn't. I didn't like at all the way Mateus forced Rodrigo Mies out of the track in turn number 4. But, you know, it is still a racing move, and I suppose Mies was giving him the space, but still he was kind of forcing Mies to the outside. But yeah, a fatal mistake potentially for Rodrigo Mies in turn number 1, just trying his hardest to stick with the leader and making a tiny error and sliding a little bit, and as a result of that, he's all the way down to 4th. Meanwhile, Bruno Asturi leading the race, Abner Acosta in the 2nd place, Matheus Narciso now 3rd, Rodrigo Mies 4th. So that's your top 4, and essentially it's a battle for the lead between the level racing teammates and a battle for P number 3, and these are well separated. Look at the gap, almost 5 seconds.
That's not what Mies wanted after the pit stops, considering he led most of this race. Took a little stab at it down into turn 1, but still didn't produce anything. Mateus, man, what a dark horse for today. I did not expect him to be... Well, he started at 11th for one thing, and now he's looking at a podium here.
And he did it earlier on as well, Matheus Narciso. We didn't really talk about him. The reason we did not was that when he took those positions, he was just able to run away with it. And, you know, his pace, it's good. It's not quite race leading, but it's good. And he has a battle in hands as well. Now, I wonder how much 12.5 minutes I wonder if it's Mies's last chance to tuck in behind him, hope he can stay in the draft, and just see what Narciso can do here. Because this man, right now, he has excellent pace. And the leading duo, they're gonna have to keep at least one eye on the timing board at this point in time. However, what Asturi and Acosta can do is that they can decide that, okay, we want to run away from everybody. We can swap places here on the main straight and use the draft to maximum efficiency, and that will net them maybe 2 or 3 tenths of a second per lap. Let's see if they do it. Let's see if Acosta is willing to make a move to us to
the lead though.
outside. Yeah, exactly that. No, Acosta is waiting.
Let's Asturi back up to the front. I did some research as you were talking, and Matheus Narciso has only put in 3 qualifying laps this round. Maybe that's why he started down in 11th. He just couldn't put together a clean one, because his race pace certainly looks a lot better than what he put in quali. As we continue to watch these top 2 stay about 3 tenths apart. They're coming up on traffic themselves now. This is Rimkus in the number 99. Let's see if this Porsche is going to leap out of the way for them, or if he could cause a bit of a headache for these top 2.
Yeah, it's usually like single lap cars are no problem. You can just wait in behind them. You can wait for them to either, signal you past. Oh, here we go to the inside, and yeah, he's gonna stay well out of the way for both Asturi and Acosta. Well done there for Jason Rimkus. But the real problem is that when you get lapped cars battling for position, and you get a single car that's passing them, or even a battle pack for leading positions, that's when the real problems start. But so far, so good for the leaders and good for these guys in terms of getting past the lapped car fairly quickly. No blue bumps there.
Down in 6th position, I was watching this a little bit before. Squirrek and Bacigalupo are in a nice little fight. You can see that is Bacigalupo in the 6th, ahead of us right now as we ride on board with Don in the 71. Not missing anything up front. They have decided to just run line astern for the time being. And Don uses slipstream enough as they start to head into the Senate S. He's closing. Staying to the inside. Bacigalupo is going to fend him off, and I don't think he's nearly close enough around the outside. Squirrek is going to have to try again later.
The later could be sooner than you expect, though, Joe, because Squirrek was once again able to get a good exit. Oh, but he ran out traction there, so he's just having to lift a little bit and will not get a chance into the sun corner on Lucas Bacigalupo. So Bacigalupo able to hold on to the 6th place so far. Another thing of note, Rodrigo Mies last time by 7 tenths of a second slower than Matheus Narciso. So he's losing time constantly, and I don't like the way Rodrigo Mies' tires look at all right now. I think he's gonna have to settle for the 4th in this race unless a miracle happens in front of him, because the car, he's lost the grip, he's overheated the tires, he clearly has to just nurse it all the way to the end. But yeah, this battle for 6th place, it might get interesting. It's 2 Ferraris, Bacigalupo and Squirrek. And Squirrek, especially as a new driver, he's a Radicals driver. He's coming from the team for which Jesse Stevens won the championship last season. But
we got to go back to the leaders here because, and Acosta lifts again. Is there an agreement between the two? And are they going to hold station until the checkered flag?
Multi 21. I wonder though if Abner Acosta is gonna take it sitting down, because it might be just I've been in teams which have had these sort of agreements, and when we've had these agreements, usually it would be that, okay, you can pass each other, but do it cleverly. So delay the battle as long as you can, make sure that you're not losing the 1st and 2nd, you're not losing the 1-2. Then you can battle on the penultimate lap or the last lap. So far, nothing doing there. Or maybe Abner Acosta is gauging his time, waiting, knowing he can catch Bruno Asturi on the run up to the line on the last lap. And that's why he's sitting on the 2nd place, because he wants to be there come last lap. It could be multiple things.
I was thinking about that for a moment as well, that he seems to lift just as he starts to catch him. So I think you're onto something that he thinks potentially he could slipstream by and not have to make the pass before the end
That's
as they come up the hill. Let's watch this time again. Let's see.
Yeah, and look at him. He's so close to Asture here, and that makes sense team-wise too, because that's the least risky way you can overtake somebody on the last lap. Here he goes to the outside again, Acosta, and he's
He's just
not
shy.
past him on the line, but this time he tries to the corner actually. So he's trying for an overtake here and trying to put some pressure on his teammate Bruno Asture. And guys, let's just be careful, okay? You still got 7 minutes to go, but if they're gonna battle this out, then well, hats off to them. I like it. I like the way they have chosen to battle, it seems, rather than, settling down on team orders, because that's just so boring. It
I
makes
agree.
sense. It is the clever thing to do. It's the smart thing to do. But it's just so darn boring.
Nobody likes to see a basketball game won on foul, so let's see
Exactly.
them fight it out
I
as
don't even like
Bruno
seeing
continues
basketball
to lead.
games. Sorry to interrupt you there. I just find it boring too.
I I won't wade into that one. So as we watch them, ooh, a little bit of a defensive line this time though from Bruno down into turn 9. Now they hit the duck spill. Things are getting a little bit more tense here. Abner Acosta has multiple wins in this series, but Bruno is the new one. How aware is he of how things tend to go out here? Can he fend off his teammate?
Well, Bruno Asturi may be the new. Oh, he's slipping a little bit loose, and I'm sure Abner Acosta, he saw that from a mile away, and he's gonna get a great exit onto the main straight out of that one. Uphill, you wanna draft all the way here. You wanna stick to the draft all the way to the last moment. To the outside he tries, and still sticks to the outside, so he's not faking anything to the inside onto turn number 1. Will he try to outbreak him? No, he won't. He knows the inside is stronger. He stand by. But still, I like this from Abner Acosta. He's just, staying behind his teammate. He's not really attacking him. He's just,
Oh,
oh!
big
Whoa.
slide from the number 5 car. He catches it, but for how close he's been for much of this run after the pit stops, this is probably the biggest gap we've seen in a minute. Can
Yeah,
he get that back?
both of them are on slippy surface right now. Both of them have their tires running out. Acosta was a little bit too far to the inside in the turn number 2 and 3. When that high-speed left-hander, it's almost flat out, but you don't want to be too far to the inside due to the camber in the curbing. So that's why, due to the banking in the curbing. And that can really upset your car, especially when it's loose like this on the last laps. So Acosta knows his mistake now, but it doesn't look like he's on worse tires, on overheated tires, than Asturi. And it doesn't look like he's having any trouble following him just yet. So he's still gonna come at him. He's just gonna have one more thing to keep in the back of his mind.
Let's stay here, but I can tell you that Michael Ross has had an issue that's lost him many positions. That happened in the Interlagos. We'll try and check on that a little bit later, but with only 4 minutes to go, we got to stay with our leaders. They climb the hill, this time not as close for Acosta after his mistake in the Curva de Sol. He's going to try and close in under braking. Let's see how the car handles this time through that long, extended corner. Look at him get right underneath that rear wing, though.
Yeah, he's coming very close to his teammate and Terran just saying to him, look, I can come this close. This is how close I am comfortable driving to you. Are you sure you want to fight this, or do you want to give it up to me already? And this could prove an interesting precedent to the later point of the season. Abner Acosta versus his teammate. As said earlier on, his biggest challenge may just come within his team, and right now Bruno Asturi is showing that yes, indeed, I can challenge my teammate. So 0.2 of a second between those two guys as we head on to the final minutes of this race. I think we have 3 laps to go this time by.
It's going to be 2.5 here that we're on as a streak comes through Mergullo up to the junction. Look at how wide they're both taking it now. They are trying to get the best launch possible through this corner. They know that they are most susceptible or have the most advantage coming up the hill, and I think Asturi managed to get himself safe this time.
Yeah,
We are two people here.
yeah, and just a little bit of information for those people who are curious about such things. Bruno Asturi's iRating is 5,900 and Abner Acosta about 5,000. So there is a 900 iRating difference between these guys, but that doesn't tell everything. It's league racing. We know Abner Acosta, he's a league racer, he's a past champion in this series, past winner in this series. But still, it's not like Bruno Asturi is just anyone. He is a formidable racer and has formidable experience as well. So it's curious to see who's the faster here and what kind of consequences that will have later on in the season. But Joe, just 3/10 still between these guys. Abner Acosta, I'm just gonna call it now. He's banking it all on the last lap.
He's going to try and use that car as far out as it can go, as he almost gives a little bit of a tap to the back of the Ford in the lead. So as they come around, they're going to get the white flag this time by. Let's see how wide the number 5 comes out to this little sort of AstroTurf stuff. We need a name for that. And they're both quite far out there, but they're going to be even. And Asturi once again does a good job with it. So Acosta won't have it here.
The Space Rocks. I got a name for it because it's Astro Rocks or Astro Stones. So it's Space Rocks, Moon Rocks.
There you go.
Anyway, last lap.
So the white flag down into the Senna S. Acosta holds back. It's deep under braking though, and once again finds himself nearly underneath the rear wing. Down through the curve of his soul. This is where he had problems before. Car looks stable this time. He's going to have a little bit of a slipstream, but he is not close enough. Even still, Asturi shows that he is going to try and defend. He is going to hold him off the whole way. These two teammates have 5 seconds back to Narciso in third place. They can battle it out if they want to up here. Once again, a bit of a late move there from Bruno, trying to keep Acosta from getting an advantage as they come down into turn 8. It's going to be single file through here most likely, unless Acosta's really trying to get sneaky. A bit offline though from Asturi. Almost opened the door for the number 5. Once again, he has to go defensive down into the ducks, Bill. This is going to make him slow though, and the 5 can't do anything with it. Acosta though, he is right underneath him. If he gets the launch, this might be the chance that he needed. What is it going to be as they come out of the junction? He is as close as he's ever been. A small bobble off the corner. Is that going to cost him, though? They come up the hill towards the line. He starts to close in a little bit, but it doesn't look like it's enough. Momentum needs to be more than this for Abner Acosta, as Bruno Asturi is going to be very close now. Oh, and it was right at the line. Did he almost let him through? It was Asturi that took the win, half a tenth between them.
Oh, so Asturi was trying to let him through, and Acosta saw what happened and was like, no, you can win this. That was great sportsmanship. So what happened here is that Acosta, I think, is the guy who was the favorite early on. And then, Asturi was trying to let him through on the line, and Acosta said, no, you can win. You deserve this win. So great sportsmanship between the teammates there. As we are still on the last lap between some of the guys, you can see a quick replay there of the guys coming across the line as well. And I'm just gonna watch if there's any significant battles. Oh, we have Juan Rives Brea, car number 3 versus Christopher Pfeffer for the 21st. It's gonna be a photo finish coming to the line.
Pfeffer's got a really good run here. Hopefully we don't get another car lifting. Does Pfeffer have it? He's got the speed, and he does. So Pfeffer manages to sneak. Oh, no, he doesn't. Oh, there we go. Now my timing and scoring switches around. 21st for Pfeffer, Brea for 22nd. Last car on the lead lap is going to be Kenny Rodriguez. He's actually in a battle with Statler. Nope, not anymore. He just went off track. Yeah. He was in a battle. All right, so as Kenny and Statler finish out, we're going to take a break here. We're going to try and suss out all that went down in this interesting first round. Stick around because you'll see all the upcoming races here on GSRC as we get ready for our post-race interviews. welcome back to Interlagos. Round 1 showed us a lot of good action on track, but something of a bizarre finish here between two teammates. Bruno Asturi took the victory over Abner Acosta, but it almost looked like they weren't sure who they wanted to win between them. And then you've got Mateus Narciso coming from 11th up to 3rd, outpacing the driver who led the most laps of this race, Rodrigo Mies. Didn't even get on the podium after starting on the pole. 4th place for him. Seems he's got to work on those tires. Paulo Munoz managed a top 5 with Lucas Basagalupo finishing in 6th position. Don Skurek was 7th with Javi Utradas in P8. Then you got Felipe Ruiz finishing 9th today, and the top 10 is rounded out by Horatio Calquin.
Ignacio Hortal finishing 11th, Fabio Gonzalez 12th, then Ted Loendick 13th, Anderson Schmid 14th, Tristan Eisler 15th, Stacy Dunnigan 16th, Andres Espinosa 17th, Michael Ross 18th after his issues, Pablo Uribe 19th, and Luis Paim Jr. rounding out your top 20.
21st goes to Christopher Pfeffer with Juan Brea in 22nd, barely separated the line between those two. Rafael Russo was 23rd, and J.R. Williams in the 24th position. Nick Utahag in 25th was followed by Alexis Acerbo. So much higher up the order earlier on, but had to settle for 26th with a speeding penalty in pit lane. Miguel Statler was 27th. The last car in the lead lap was Kenny Rodriguez. Hilton and Rimkus round out your top 30 from there on down. It was cars a lap down with only 2 DNFs today, amazingly, of our drivers. We've got our second place finisher ready to talk to us, though. Abner Acosta joins us in the booth. So let's see if we can get Abner to clear things up. What happened at the end? Was there some sort of agreement that went wrong, or why did both of you slow?
I was pretty sure we fought for it at the end. I'm pretty sure, I know Bruno, and Bruno knows me. I know there would have been contact. So I knew I was faster. So we were talking the whole time, and it was a back and forth. And at the end, he kind of wanted to let me win because I was faster, but then I didn't want to win like that. So it was kind of like, yeah. That's how it ended.
It had us scratching our heads a little bit because it was exciting, and then suddenly both cars were breaking for the line. Bill, talk about some of that battling. How bad were the tires at the end? We saw you had to catch the car a couple times there.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. I did get to save a little bit once we caught up to Rodrigo, which saved me. If I would have kept going at the same pace without any help, without saving fuel and all that, it would have been a lot worse. But yeah, the tires at the end, especially with the Ford. I'm new with the Ford, and I feel like, I don't know, when I wasn't driving the Ford, people were saying, "Oh, the tires on the Ford are better. They're really good." I don't feel like that at all. It's all over the place, but we managed to get through.
A lot of new names that have shown up. Are any of them making you raise your eyebrows? Narciso went from 11th to 3rd. You have to imagine if he sorts out his qualifying, he'll be one to watch.
Yeah, I saw the list at the beginning, and there's a lot of competition for sure. Even Rodrigo, he was super fast. He just made one small mistake, and we just caught up, and we decided we were just gonna feel safe very hard behind them, which worked out for us. But yeah, everybody seems like there's a lot of pace, a lot of new faces here, so that's good for the league.
Well, would you like to give a shout in Spanish to anybody for thank you for this podium here today?
Well, I want to thank Bruno and Alexis. We train pretty hard for this one, and our team, Level Motorsports, and all of our sponsors, and you guys for broadcasting and hosting and doing all what you do.
Well, thank you so much. That was Abner Acosta, our second place finisher here today. It looks like we don't have anybody else joining us, unfortunately, so we won't be able to talk to Bruno or Mateus, nor even Mies, who would be fascinated to hear how he felt his car was towards the end of the race. Maybe next time, but we'll thank our sponsors in the meantime. First, starting with Simulation Motorsports Affinity. Again, you can find them at simsa.net if you want to get involved with the worldwide sim racing community. And also to ButtKicker. They are at thebuttkicker.com. And they have now sponsored, I believe it's all 5 of the series that we cover here on GSRC for the Precision Racing League. Thanks to the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcast. You can see them listed here on your screen. And additional thanks go to June Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music. See the screen for how to get a hold of more of her great work. Thanks to the team today, Aussie and Sean and Dougie. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, including upcoming races, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com. Also, check out our social media on Twitter. That'll be at GSR channel for there. Facebook for Global Sim Racing Channel, and Instagram is at GSRC_Graham. If you'd like to support us, we've got a merchandise store at gsrc.storenvy.com. We got a link in the description below if you want to check it out. The next race is going to be at Monza. That will be a very different track from what we saw here, but a lot of slipstreaming still. Tuesday, June 23rd at 9 p.m. Eastern if you want to catch that one. We have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen, so check those out and mark them down on your calendar. But until next time, race clean, race hard. We'll see you on the track.